Good morning. I'm Claude Caron. I'm a former CFO in the federal government, and I will be one of the resources available for the speed mentoring event at the Professional Development Week in November. I'm going to go through 5 questions that are often asked by participants at these events, and I'll give you some examples of the kind of answers you would get. So that might help you, I guess, decide what to ask and how to best use that time. First question is one that comes quite often. Is bilingualism important for my career advancement? Well, the answer is yes. It is important because public service is bilingual, and it is particularly important in management positions. As you probably know, EX positions require a C-level ability in both languages. So that's a requirement to get the job. But in the jobs, quite often, departments operate in both languages. Many organizations do not, and many operate mostly in French. In finance, you end up quite often changing organizations, so it's important to be able to operate in both languages. You don't have to be proficient, really, in both languages. You have to be able to operate and be able to attend a meeting, hear what is being said, and hopefully answer the questions in the language of the person who is talking to you. Second question that is often asked is, I have been in the same role for several years. How do I move up? Well, that's a good question, actually, that we get often. My advice is, one, there's no recipes, but the first thing that's really important is for you to decide what you're interested in. Surprisingly, quite often the most significant obstacle is people don't know really what they're looking for, okay? Where they want to go. You also have to decide what is right for you. Do you have a family situation where you can travel or cannot travel? Are you okay working long hours? If you want to move up, you can probably expect to have to invest quite a bit of time up front in a new job. So after you decide what you're interested in, look at your competency profile, look at your CV, and say, am I missing something here to attend the position that I'm interested in? There's information available on the public service website as far as executive competencies. The DCFO Council has also published competency profile for financial officers. Those are 2 examples of good sources of information. Of course, look at job posters regularly, and even if you're not interested in leaving today, that will give you a sense of the kind of things that are required for jobs in the event that you're interested in one. Work on your qualifications and on your experience. That's really important, okay? You have to decide in advance, as I said earlier, the first point, what you want to go, where you want to go with your career, and make sure you have the qualifications and the technical or other abilities that are required. Look at lateral transfers as an option to acquire those competencies and to move into an organization that might offer more opportunities. And finally, work on your reputation. Not just with management, but also with your staff and your colleagues. This is hugely important, okay? And one thing I said in the previous video of the FMI is that your reputation is something you build each day and every day. So keep that in mind. Another question that we hear is, does having a mentor help in career advancement and success? Well, since I'm here today, I'll tell you yes, it does. And it does because you get the benefit of talking to someone who has been through a lot. Okay, usually there are older people like me who have gone through a number of challenges with their career, with work, and so on. It can help you with advice regarding your particular situation, either career-wise or professionally with your work. I strongly encourage that. If it's available in your organization, take advantage of it. What are some of the ways to find new job opportunities besides applying for job posters or openings? Well, first of all, always have an up-to-date CV on hand. You don't know when there'll be something coming up. And if you're like me, that's something you hate doing, okay, updating your CV. So when time comes to apply for a job or to send your CV to someone who might be interested in talking to you, it's nice to have it ready. You can also have ready a letter of application, okay, the ones that typically are used as a cover letter to your application for jobs. Those are sometimes tedious to write. Have a couple of models ready, practice developing that in advance. So if you see a job opening, you won't miss it. You won't miss the deadline because you're too busy at work. Get involved in the finance community. There's many ways to do this. The FMI, obviously, is a really good way of doing this. But also, if you have a chance to get involved with the DCFO Council, for example, as on one of the committees, that's a good example. Stay connected with your former colleagues that may have gone to other departments. Maintain a network of contacts. Very important. And don't be shy to approach managers in your area or other departments to try to sell your qualifications for a job that you would be interested in. You have to promote yourself, okay? And finally, what are some of the most important skills, beside obviously being a good financial officer, technical skills, that I would look at for a successful candidate? Well, this is where I think most financial officers have work to do, okay? Most of us have gone through formal training. We're qualified and we have expertise in the areas we're worked in because we practice it a lot at work. But some of the higher level positions require different dimensions, not just technical proficiency, okay? Interpersonal skills, very important, okay? So you have to be able to relate to other people effectively and nicely, and people have to remember you for what you can contribute, and that's important. Strategic thinking. Well, strategic thinking, you see that a lot in job posters. What does that mean? It means being able to take a step back and look at a broader perspective on issues than strictly the financial perspective. Understanding the business of the organization you're in, understanding the concerns or opportunities of other areas of your organization that would affect issues and decisions. Leadership with your staff, leadership within the organization is also a very important qualification. That's something you can develop. There's training, there's other tools available for that, reading books and so on, articles. I'm sure there's a number of information available. If you're a CPA, for example, on the website, there's a lot of tools available. Conference Board offers a lot of information, and the FMI does too. Political sensitivity. I'm not referring to the next election, okay, just in case. We're a month away from the election, for when that it will be aired after the election, but maybe. But political sensitivity means being sensitive to the way your actions are perceived in the organization, being sensitive to what the organization can endure in terms of the efforts of transformation or other things you're putting forward. There's nothing worse than someone coming in with a recipe in an organization as a financial officer and not accounting for how the culture of this organization will affect your success. Political sensitivity. And you have to have a firm hand. In finance, I guess it's often a little bit of gray, but often you need someone to put your foot down sometimes and say, can't do that, sir, sorry, but that's not allowed. But that's not always that black and white, okay? So be capable of being flexible and to compromise, okay, on some things that do not go beyond the limits, obviously, that are dictated by regulation, legislation, or policies, and do it for the right reasons. So that will show you more as an enabler than a roadblock, okay? That's really important. So think of, in your approach, when you're firm, to always find a way to enable the organization you're working in, and I think that's something that is looked for at senior level. Deputy ministers do not want to have a CFO that keeps saying no, can't do it. He wants to know how we're going to do this legally and so on and so forth. So that's what I had to offer to you. Good luck and see you in November. Bye-bye.